Hey, everybody. It is Dan here and Joe over the Zoom,
Hello.
and it is time for. Yes, it is Love That Lecter. That means it is time once again to talk about Hannibal. This is season 1 of the series. We only did one of these videos so far, so we just did the premiere episode. But unlike some of the other shows we've done over the years, Freaks and Geeks, for example, where we did every episode gets their own review, I don't think we need to delve quite that deeply into this. So it's going to be 3 episodes total per season, really 4 episodes, I guess, for the first season because of that pilot, for a total of 10 reviews for Hannibal. So today we're going to talk about episodes 2 through 5. One of which never aired in the United States when it was originally out. Yeah, did you know that?
No, that's new to me. I want to say I know which one it was, but now I'm not sure because they're all pretty graphic, actually.
They're all very graphic indeed. So
might be one.
We're going to talk about 2 through 5. We did a great review on the first episode. We liked it a lot. Loved watching it on your high def TV. That was very enjoyable.
And the Blu-ray you provided, very nice.
Yes. I noticed, though, as I was watching it this time, my TV's not nearly as good as yours. I know why my Blu-rays don't look amazing. It's because my TV is just not the best.
I didn't think my TV was that good. I mean, I don't have like the best, biggest TV or anything, but I guess those colors in that bathroom really popped, man, that one scene.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had this TV for maybe close to a decade, and it was a Walmart special. So, I mean, it's not that great.
Okay.
So I might need a nice upgrade. Maybe I'll treat myself this summer so I can really watch my Blu-rays in all the glory. And also let it be known, I'm glad that this series is on Netflix, which is how you've been watching it, because one of these episodes skipped like 3 minutes of it just froze.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I better fire up my Netflix and put it on there so I can see what I'm missing. But so all of these episodes from season 1, the sort of theme or whatever is French cuisine, which of course makes sense. So episode 2 that we're going to talk about, amuse-bouche. Episode 3, potage. Episode 4, oeuf. I'm bad at French, so these might be horrible pronunciations. And number 5, coquilles.
All French to me, man.
Yeah, right. It's all French to me. So, like you sort of thought, Joe, because when we talked about do we need to do episode by episode for these, you sort of thought these would be more of killer of the week type of episodes.
I did say that.
You did say it, and you were right. And there is like sort of an overarching
plot
theme to these where we're getting to know Hannibal more. We're getting to know Will Graham more. Even a little bit, I think by the 5th episode, we're getting to know the Lawrence Fishburne character, Jack Crawford, and his wife a little bit more too. So there is sort of that running theme. And then we also meet in episode 2, I guess it is, the this woman that like she's a tabloid journalist kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, not a fan, eh?
No, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
she shows up in episode 2, and I thought she would just sort of be a one-off, but then she's been in the next couple episodes so far.
Yeah, I was expecting her to be a one-off character too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we should say, I guess, before we get to these, that these will be some spoilers here. We're going to be delving into the plot line. So I think we could say here, I thought in that second episode she was getting murdered.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that. Oh yeah, there's a scene where you're like, okay, yeah, they're hinting and they kind of want the audience, I think, to feel, yeah, she's not going to make. Oh no, she's a recurring nuisance. My least favorite character, including all the serial killers.
Yes, right.
He's the worst character in the show, worst person. Seriously.
Yes, she's played by Laura Jean Chirotesky or something, and she plays this Freddie Lowndes, who is a tabloid.
Freddie Lowndes, that's
tabloid journalist, blogger, whatever you want to call her.
Tattletalecrime.com.
She runs this website called Tattle Crime that they bring up a lot. And this is what she's actually most known for.
Okay.
This is the first thing that pops up on her wiki as, known mostly for this. So before we dive into it, I'm curious as to which episode you think of these 4 never aired in the U.S. Okay. We see it in proper order on Netflix, proper order on the DVD. It aired in other countries, but not in the States.
I admit I watched them all like pretty much before we recorded this, so they blend a little bit. Separate.
Yeah, I watched them all sort of in like a marathon as well.
Let's see. So the first one's kind of the sequel to the first episode where with the daughter.
Yes, and this is where we meet the tabloid lady, Freddie.
Tabloid lady, and is that the one where they're hunting the copycat of the guy who's
yes,
the pharmacist? Okay, so there's him.
Yes. Then episode 2, episode 3, but the second one we're going to talk about is Potage, and that was basically where you have the girl Abigail.
Oh, and her
and her dad,
and it goes back to her house, and Hannibal's like kind of helping her out with the guys going after the brother of the person that her dad killed.
And she's basically like the accomplice of her father.
They think she's in on it, and she was the bait to bring people. Okay, 4th.
So that was 2.
Oh, that's the one with the kidnapper woman with Molly Shannon. Yeah.
Yes. No. That was 4.
That was 4. Yeah, that's 4.
Molly Shannon's the next one where they're kidnapping the kids.
And then the
Lost Boys,
one,
they're called.
The Lost Boys, and the last one's the one with the angel guy.
Yes.
Because my money's the angel guy.
Okay. You are incorrect.
Damn it.
Believe it or not, it is the Molly Shannon episode.
Why?
Well, it's never been expressed specifically, but apparently the creator of the show, who we talked about last time, Brian Fuller, who we love from many, many things, Wonder Falls and Pushing Daisies and all of these, he wrote for Star Trek. He talked to NBC 5 days before the episode came on, and he said, look, we just dealt with the shootings at the school, the Sandy Hook. So I think a story about missing children maybe is not the most appropriate thing right now. So they just shelved it. To be honest, I mean, when I read that, I thought the episode was going to be about a school shooting, and it wasn't.
Yeah, that would make more sense if it was more about a school shooting. I mean, I guess you got a kid shooting other kids potentially and family members, but it never was specifically stated. That's just what people sort of suspect. But what his statement about it was, with this episode, it wasn't about the graphic imagery or violence. It was the associations that came with the subject matter that I felt would inhibit the enjoyment of the overall episode. It was my own sensitivity. Okay. We need to be respectful of the social climate we're in right now. But I guess Sandy Hook had really just happened within the last couple of months or something. Okay.
Let me see when this aired. Yeah, so Sandy Hook was 4 months earlier. Well, first of all, God bless, but in 2021, and every 4 months, there's every day there's another shooting, right now. So
yeah, it was like, I forget what year it was. It was like 2018 or 2019. There was literally like a school shooting or shooting of some kind for like every day of the year or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's
so
like
so I guess you could never air an episode like this now by that logic.
Yeah, heady days with
it's unfortunate. I mean, I kind of appreciate that, but at the same time, it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, well, that's the case for that one. But of the episodes we watched, I think that one was probably the least brutal in terms of visuals anyway. If we're talking about violence. So it's like,
in terms of the violence, it actually had the least amount.
So you're saying, okay, that one might be insensitive, but the one about the guy that flays people's lungs is like, oh yeah, that's fine. So I'm like, cool. Oh, okay.
Again, though, that teaches us again, as a country, we just love violence and hate, sex, nudity.
Yeah.
I will say this though, when we talked about this a little bit with the pilot, I am very, very floored with the absolute graphic nature of these sequences that were aired on network television.
Yeah,
It blows my mind that they were getting away with this.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that again as I was watching,
Yeah.
because I'll be honest, there was some intense stuff that first episode, but some of the stuff they get away in these other ones, I was literally like, if you had been watching, this is no lie, I was literally like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My mouth was agape, eyes open. I was transfixed because I'm just like, and sometimes I was like, oh, like really, like because I'm just like, this is something like I've said it before, but like in HBO, Showtime, maybe you might see stuff, or like in a hard R movie,
Yeah.
but like this was on regular, like
it's insane to me. The filleting of the people,
God.
the gutting with the deer antlers. I mean, it's insane. Now I will say, so Salt Lake City, Utah, always very conservative, always with the Mormonism. They ban a lot of shows. NYPD Blue was famously banned there.
Oh wow.
So after the first 4 episodes were aired, which is where we stopped watching because, of course, episode 4 didn't really air. Mm-hmm. So after that 5th episode, the one with the angel, the NBC affiliate there said, we're not airing this anymore.
So Utah wasn't going to air it.
So Utah left it, and then it got picked up by their CW affiliate there.
Wow.
To be aired like in the middle of the night, basically. But
that just shows how intense it was for some cultures,
Yes. And listen, I believe I really, as a student of television history, I mean, this is more envelope pushing for network television in terms of violence than anything. Even today, like they open up a lot of CSI episodes with like a dead body.
Oh, that's nothing.
It's nothing. There's some dried blood.
They're bloated. They're white, bluish color, right. But there's no, you don't have organs everywhere.
Right. Yes, they do show a lot in some of those, or a Law and Order or whatever. But like this is incredibly visceral.
I think about it like I've been watching Breaking Bad too, and like that's a show that obviously has heavy subject matter, and there is some violence in it. Like people do get shot or stabbed, like they do die in pretty intense ways. But once again, in terms of the visual gore, the amount of it, you're right, is just a whole nother level. What time of night did this air on? Was this like a 10 o'clocker?
Yeah, 10 p.m. All 3 seasons it aired at 10 o'clock.
Okay, so they were hoping the kids, but still, that's like that's wow.
Yeah, isn't that just insane?
And so, and the ones I'm watching on Netflix, that's uncut as it was on TV.
Yes. Now the one thing, episode 5 on the DVD is listed as producer's cut.
Okay.
But I checked it with the time on the Netflix episode, and they are the same exact time. So my guess is Netflix probably has whatever's on the DVD.
Okay.
So there may be some extra.
Because I'm telling you, I was like,
gore, maybe, I don't know.
When I saw that 5th episode, I was like, there's no way this was on TV. There's no way.
But it starts out like that. Like
I know that's why it blew my mind with the people splayed on the bed, and I'm like,
yes,
their lungs are hanging, and I'm like,
now hold on, okay, I'm gonna check something right now.
I was like, this can't be.
I want to see. So this aired in April of 2013. April and May, right? Were these episodes? I want to look and see what was the lead-in show, because they had their must-see comedy Thursdays for so long. Like, can you imagine there being a comedy leading into Hannibal?
That'd be so.
Let me look here. Sure did. Okay, it was reruns of Parks and Rec from earlier in the season.
That's some tonal shift.
It ran. The Office was at 9, Parks and Rec at 9:30, and Hannibal directly following.
Parks and Rec at 9:30 and Hannibal at 10.
That's
a weird.
That's pretty wild, man.
Hey, well,
that's wild.
That's like the thing that just stands out to me the most, just on a technical level, is once again, actually, even the 2nd episode. Look, okay. A great visual. Just one of the things about the show I just like is the atmosphere. Like obviously you've got the gore prosthetic effects, as well as some of the weird dream sequences with the darkness and the ambient noise, and they like the antlers and the stag. That's the recurring motif. A lot of creepy. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, True Detective. Like that, the whole first couple episodes is so. I'm telling you, I keep getting those vibes. So I still think the influence is there from this show. Just how crystal clear everything looks, even with the gore. But I really, I really appreciate the imagery they go for, which is like disgusting and mesmerizing. When they have, I think it's the serial killer in the second episode where he buries those people alive and uses them kind of as fertilizer to grow the mushrooms to like get them more
Yeah.
connected or whatever. And they got all the mushrooms growing out of people. Man,
So creepy.
but one of the great twists of that was the one guy was still alive and he's like decayed. He looks like a zombie. And I'm telling you, this might make you flinch, Dan, but there's the great practical effect when the the coroner, whatever, CSI person's going over and they just
Oh no, when they take
grab the skin.
Cap off.
No. They grab the skin to the mouth and it just pulls up the skin, lifts up, and just the teeth. And I'm like, oh
no. Look, you know me.
You were probably looking away so much for this.
I have to look away in this show a lot.
Some of it made me a little queasy. I'm not gonna lie.
And you have seen it all.
Like I don't. And when the guy was alive and he's like a half decayed looking zombie guy, he looks like he's out of The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
it's that level of makeup, and I'm like, that's really impressive and great makeup and a horrifying situation to imagine.
Well, look, here's the thing. I have trouble sometimes watching, like, hospital dramas have gotten very
graphic,
intricate. Yes, very graphic and intricate with their surgeries and stuff. So I'll watch, New Amsterdam or one of those shows, The Resident, and I definitely am like, okay, I don't need to see, just give me the deal on what this guy has or whatever. I don't need the thing. But this takes it
to another level.
Such an extreme level, because in those shows I feel like, okay, if I were a doctor, I would be seeing this sort of thing on the regular. It wouldn't phase me. No. It's technical,
Sure.
Here it goes so far above that because we're dealing with psychopaths.
Yeah.
We're dealing with serial killers, etc., cannibals in some instances, you could say. And so they just step it up to that level that I have to look away sometimes, and that's not a detriment to the show.
No, I think
that's more a detriment to my own squeamishness, I guess.
No,
but it's not something. Look, I'm 43. It's not something I'm ever going to cotton to.
No, I can appreciate that, and I agree. It's not a detriment to the show. I think it's kind of making it more effective. The themes and situations it's hammering home, and man, Will Graham every time that a case concludes at the episode, I'm just picturing if I was him, I'm like, well, I quit. Like that was it for me.
I know.
That case was it. Like, and it's just like, it's so I'll talk about it later, but it might be one of the issues I sort of have with maybe one of the other characters is because like they bring him in, because he's so good at getting into the serial killers' heads and empathizing with them enough to figure it out. But he got out of it for a reason. And I'm just like, right. Well, yeah, because I quit because it was so traumatizing, and he has images too. And then I'm like, every episode, okay, quit again. Yep, I'd be done. I'm hanging up the hat again. Like, that's it. Like, I couldn't do that job. And
no.
Not at all. And so people that do, whew, man.
But here's what's great about that character, I guess, specifically, but maybe the show in a more general sense, but certainly the character is that I think it was the last episode that we watched for tonight, Coquilles. He was wrong in his diagnosis.
Oh yeah, he couldn't. The one guy, he was wrong. Yeah.
I think it was that episode, and I really like that they made that character fallible so quickly. Because it's one of these things where it's like, okay, as an average person who doesn't do this kind of thing for a living, I always think like, well, man, how can anybody get in these guys' heads? Like, this is a crazy job. Like you're saying, it would certainly take its toll.
Sure.
But here he's wrong. And not only that, but I think it's also that fifth episode where he tells the that Freddie, the true crime lady, that like, oh well, never mess with
Oh yeah, somebody
somebody
who
who
knows how
studies
to kill
serial
people.
killers. Yeah, who studies serial killers for a living. And so it's like that in itself was also the
Well,
wrong thing to do. It was a faux
yeah,
pas
yeah, you're
on
right.
his part. That
You're right. It's fallible because he not only was he wrong, but it shows that he's dynamic in the sense that, like, you're right, he doesn't always know the right thing to say. Sometimes he gets emotional, but I think by the last episode or two we watched, he is saying, "Hey, this is I really don't know if I can do this anymore." So
right.
it's taking its toll for sure.
Yeah, right. Like you said, in that fifth episode, he actually tells Lecter, "Look, it's starting to break me. Like I don't know if I could do this much longer."
And he's like, "Oh,
Um,
very interesting. Tell me about your mother."
okay, but before we get into Hannibal,
Uh-huh.
the person, the other thing I really like about Will Graham
Hmm.
is that first of all, look, was it Ed Norton or something in the movie?
Yep.
He's fine,
Yeah, he's Ed Norton.
good movie,
Yeah.
but Ed Norton. I don't really know Hugh Dancy that well. I've seen him here and there in like random things. Um, so I can't really like Ed Norton. I associate him,
As Ed Norton.
with certain things, Fight Club, whatever. But uh, to me, even after just these first 5 hours, Hugh Dancy like has embodied this person. And now I feel like anytime for the rest of my days, whenever I see Hugh Dancy in something, I'm going to see Will
Mm,
because he's really made this character his own. But I just
yeah.
love that the show Hannibal is, at least so far, more about Will and his psyche. And yeah, his relationship with Dr. Lecter is part of that. And Dr. Lecter, obviously, like I said, we'll talk about him in a second, but I feel like really, really the main character of this show, at least so far, is Will Graham.
Yeah, it should be
Which,
called Graham.
well, it should be, but I think it's ballsy that they
Call it
didn't call
Hannibal.
it that. They
Yeah.
call it Hannibal obviously to get eyeballs on
Views.
because they
Yeah.
know people know that. But yeah, if they called it Graham, then it wouldn't
Like,
be
like
as
what?
meaningful. But I think it's interesting that it's such a successful show, even despite the fact that it's not actually about, at least yet, Hannibal. Really.
Well, it's interesting you say that because that's kind of a segue of one of the things that I did think about while I was watching is I do agree with what you're saying. I think that the portrayal of this character by this actor is quite good. I think that he's really selling it for me. The fact that he is intelligent but also very disturbed and clearly is having some emotional trauma based on all these things he's experiencing every case. So and he really does kind of come off like this person who might not be altogether there, but he's very kind of hypnotic to watch. It is more his story, and you're right. The thing about it is, as I've been watching it, I've mostly been thinking, well, this is basically just a very intense, police procedural, Criminal Minds esque show with kind of a guest starring Hannibal, just kind of in the background, hanging out, occasionally saying a thing. And I'm not saying that I think it's bad, but I have definitely noticed it that at least there was probably an episode or two where there have been a number of scenes where Hannibal's presence is there, but you could remove him completely from it and nothing would really be lost in terms of the main plot, which that isn't the case for every single episode, but there are many scenes where it's like, oh, he's kind of here, but he doesn't really have to be here. So I was thinking that was kind of funny, and I don't really have a problem with it, but I definitely noticed it a little bit.
Well, I definitely agree with that, especially because look, Lawrence Fishburne, who
Yeah.
did many years on CSI in various incarnations as Dr. Raymond. Um, so it's like you even include him to make it even more like this is a procedural.
Yeah, he's the hard-boiled, police captain boss
Right.
who's got a lot. He's a big character too, which Jack Crawford is as Clarice's boss and Graham's boss in the movies. So it's like,
Yes.
so I get it's actually we're getting more about him too, and maybe why Hannibal eventually has more animosity towards him, perhaps because we know that by Silence of the Lambs, remember Jack Crawford, so he doesn't like him very much.
Yes.
So I mean, I kind of get it that we're getting more of these other characters from the Lecter universe fleshed out, which is cool, but it is a little misleading. Where I'm serious. There are a couple episodes where he could be lifted and it wouldn't matter. Not all of them.
Okay, but here's what I think about that, and maybe I'm wrong.
Okay.
But I think as we go in deeper, I think the subject matter of the show will shift into being more about Hannibal and less about Will. I think that's sort of the point, and I could be way off. What's nice about this is we're watching for the first time, but because of that, I think his presence in those scenes is not wasted.
Okay.
It may seem like it in the process of the episode, but look, Hannibal's whole deal is that he's, Hannibal the cannibal. He's even keel. We're not gonna low profile. We're not gonna call attention to ourselves, so everybody knows. So in that sense, I think just sort of let's stand back and watch Will do his thing. I'll sort of make my mental notes or whatever. I think sort of adds to it. And we actually do get several scenes without Will completely, where Hannibal is with Lawrence Fishburne. Especially the couple of scenes in several of the episodes from tonight. Where he's having him over for dinner, talking about getting the wife over,
he wants to have him and his wife for dinner sometime.
All right, now hold on. Now
he's got to get them in. He's got to get them in.
I will say, I get it.
It's part of the character, Dan.
The bits.
He has to do the bits. That he's every movie. Everything we've seen, he's got the bits. Come on.
I know, but I guess in my mind, I always thought when he said the bits, like to Clarice, well, at that point, we all already know.
It's out there in the open.
It's out there in the open. Clarice knows. I know. Okay. Everybody knows.
All right, but here's the thing. One of the things we've established about Hannibal is that the thing that gets him off, could almost be a sexual thing. The thing that he loves is getting other people to eat other people and love it. He loves that. So, he likes to share that.
That is true.
That's his thing.
True.
That's his thing.
Okay. But he can silently be enjoying it.
He does. They do the cut to his face when he's like, They do that. They cut to him when
I know.
They do it, but sometimes he's got to push it just a little bit to know that there's a double meaning there that he's got to do it. I bet it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse the more he gets out in the open, I bet.
No, I'm sure it will. But that's for us, the audience. That's like the wink, wink. I don't know how much I love that, but
there was only like one or two of those, to be honest. And to be fair, Dan, to be fair, I think that scene. I think he literally wanted to have them over for dinner at his house. He likes them. I don't think he wants to eat them. To be fair.
Okay, I understand that. But there was another thing he said to Will at one point. I think it might be in episode 5, where he said something to the effect of, you're always welcome for dinner or something. I forget what he said. But I was just like, okay, we got it.
No, he's a foodie. He prepares pork. He prepares figs and stuff. He does everything.
So we assume as the viewer that he's just serving all the people humans every time.
Actually, no.
You don't think?
No, I think Hannibal.
You think it was Rabbit that one time?
You know what? It's hard to say because that's one of the things that I actually find interesting is there's always that clever editing. Like I think that's the one you're implying to, where they have the guy out of context. We don't know. He's like running from somebody in the woods, and that hard cut to cutting the steak or whatever, and you're like, okay. But the thing is, I believe the thing we've established about Hannibal, from what I've seen, is he's a great cook in general. He knows how to cook other things other than people, and I think he would take pride in that. I think he wouldn't like serve people all the time because that would be sloppy. That would get more suspicious.
Okay.
I think
mix it up.
I think he would. So I don't think he is always serving people, but they like to, with those edits and holding on it, they like to trick us. Same with I like to have you over dinner. That's messing with us
Yeah.
because we get it. And has it happened sometimes already? I think in that first episode, I think that's the thing. I don't know. And that's
Well,
this
okay.
whole thing's a tease of like sausages. Is he, what kind of sausages are they? Oh, they're whatever, beef. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Brian Fuller did say in the commentary for episode 1 that yes, he always assumed that they were eating people in that scene.
Okay, he assumed
But
later.
but even when the crack about the rabbit, Lawrence Fishburne says something like, "Oh, I guess he wasn't.
I don't.
Rabbits are fast or something." That he was
And
like,
then,
"Not fast enough," whatever.
yeah, I think that one
I
was
don't know.
probably a person because what did he go hunt a rabbit? Like I didn't find. No, I don't know about that one.
But the pork maybe was real pork.
Yeah, I thought the
from a
pork
pig.
because when he was making a big deal about the whole speech
Yeah.
about being cruel to animals to impress the wife, like he was, I don't, I got he was so it wasn't like a quick little lie, like oh it's just duck or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was like no, I have this butcher who's that. He seemed like he had a lot. I think he takes real pride in what he serves people, and I don't think he would to be that reckless about it. Is all I'm saying.
Look, he's one of the great hosts.
He is. I think he doesn't want to draw attention to himself unless he really wants to make a special occasion out of it.
Yes, I think we can agree with that. All right, so how about this woman though? This blogger, horrible. You hate her.
Like worst character in the show. It's horrible.
But okay, all right, but that is her point.
I understand
She's
that.
designed to be hated, and
as the tabloid, even Hannibal's like, this is unethical even for a tabloid journalist.
I wanted her to be dead though.
I was like, yeah, she could have been gone like a while. Like no, and the scene where Jack Crawford's like, I could arrest you for obstruction of justice. I'm like, yeah, please do. She's the reason this guy got away, and they don't do it. And I'm like, what? It was just.
Yeah, I guess what they think they need her more than they don't need her or something. But I don't agree with that. But I think that's why.
Yeah, I was struggling with the logic of that, and I'm like, no, you're absolutely right. She inhibited a criminal investigation. The serial killer got away because of the her morals are weak. She seems like she's fascinated by this stuff, but she's not helpful to the investigators. Like she doesn't care who gets her. Like she's messing with the daughter of the one serial killer. Like oh, like I could, tell me some things that I could help you. Like I do not like her, man.
You think she's messing things up more than anything.
She is. It's been established she is. She's not. Yeah.
I don't know how long she lasts, but I hope it's not too long, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I thought that was
unless there's some kind of great character turnaround here.
Well, that's possible. And here's the interesting thing. Okay. Hannibal typically kills people he doesn't like or that kind of get in his way. He's kind of got a code. He literally found out she was like, spying on him, recording the sessions. Knows she.
Oh, right, recording his sessions with Will.
That's why I thought that he was going to take her out, and they implied that. But then I'm like, so why did he let her go? That's what I'm wondering, because like he that seems like somebody Hannibal would have no problem serving up.
Yeah, it's a good question. Maybe it would be too obvious because the FBI is keeping their tabs on her.
Because she's too close to the case, maybe?
Because she's close to the cases. So maybe if she disappeared, it would be too obvious. I don't know.
That's the only thing I guess. I would just like, man, all I'm saying is I know that's her purpose and she does it well. She acts it well. But like, that's a character you loved it. I don't really love to hate. I just hate her. I don't
you just hate her.
No, I do not like her. No.
Molly Shannon, good as always.
Good. Actually, that's one of the minor gripes I guess I have with the whole you got a couple of the villain monster of the week episodes here, and that episode was an example of it was interesting, and I thought that was one that could have been fleshed out into a two-parter because it was like, okay, we figured it out, we resolved her. We never got real insight into her. They were focused more on the kids, and they have that scene at the end with the kid in the car, and we're like, okay, he's going to go away for a while, and I'm like, but this kid was manipulated. He didn't really want to do it. Like, I don't know. She was the villain. She was the manipulative kidnapping.
Yes.
And we didn't really get much of her. And I was like, that felt a little too rushed for me. So a couple of these episodes, I'm like, I get them. In this show, it's like, the villain of the week is the police procedural villain serial killer of the week, but they're really just to serve the plot for it. So it's like a combination of overarching plot sprinkled in with the villain of the week. So it's like
Right.
there's not as much time devoted to each serial killer, which it's like, okay, you've got their thing, but they're all kind of they were kind of repeating some of the same ideas, like between the mushroom guy and the angel guy. So I was like, I some of them I thought they're like, because the first episode, like I guess the first three, it's really all connected to still Will's issues with stopping that first serial killer. Is it Hobbs? The
Right. Hobbs. Yeah.
Hobbs, and basically dealing with her daughter and her struggles, and her kind of like investigation about what happened, and then trying to figure out how she was involved. And they had the other copycat villain sprinkled in, so really it was just still dealing with the after effects of that first episode, which I thought was interesting. But then the last couple, it was like, okay, we'll just do a couple one-offs because I guess that's what we're doing. But I've seen other episodes where they do go deeper into the individual villain, and I'm thinking, since they're kind of spreading out the main plot anyway, maybe they could have fleshed like that Molly Shannon one. I was like, that resolved too quickly. Like I wanted more of that.
But one thing though is, keep in mind that was the episode that didn't air, so it actually is kind of nice that you are able. I think probably part of the reason Brian Fuller was like, we don't need to show this one, is because you could just lift it right out.
Yeah.
The only thing really with the overarching story that we get was in that episode is when Hannibal checks out Hobbs's daughter from the hospital and brings him home, or brings her home, and sort of is her guardian temporarily or whatever. But at the beginning of the next episode, we see that in the previously on Hannibal. So
okay,
even if you didn't, see that, I don't know if Netflix does the previously ons or not.
Yeah,
but
yeah, okay. They do.
So you saw that, but yeah, I definitely see what you're saying though. I see
it's an unfortunate, like, I know that's probably partially a time thing, because I guess because of the regular the station was on, these episodes are a little shorter. But like if you had an extra 5-10 minutes, if this was like a premium show,
yeah, like if it was an HBO, they could do an hour.
You could do that, and I was like, then we could have gotten more insight into her, because I thought that was interesting, and they were trying to split dealing with her, but really more about the kids, and so it was a little sprinkled all over the place.
Yeah.
So I wish there was a little more fleshed out there.
Well, and I totally get that. But I think you do also have to keep in mind the era we were in 2013. The top dramas on TV were CSI and all of these, NCIS, all these procedurals. And I think NBC could have been maybe having a little bit of a struggle, because even their top show at the time, drama wise, was probably Law and Order, SVU, which it still is, I think, which is procedural to the max.
Yeah.
So maybe they were still trying to figure out, okay, well, how do we do Killer of the Week, but also have some sort of overarching storyline? I don't know.
Well, and I think the solution to that is pretty simple. Kind of just do what they did the first couple episodes, where they kind of flesh out investigating one killer over a couple episodes and tie it back to everything that's going on with Hannibal and Graham and the one girl, which they're kind of doing anyway. But like within that, they pepper in with, okay, like the first one made sense because he was copycatting the other one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they thought he was the copycat, and then we're dealing with the residuals of what happened with that guy. So, but then the next couple, it's like, okay, these aren't quite as connected. So since they're kind of just doing the whole season-long arc anyway, I think they could have broken up the killers, is all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say that apparently the seasons get better as we go along.
Okay.
Because season 1 on both Rotten and Metacritic, season 1 is the lowest rated. They're all still positives. Rotten has it at 82, Metacritic has it at 70.
Okay.
But then seasons 2 and 3, 98% on Rotten.
Wow.
And Metacritic has them at 88 for season 2 and 84 for season 3. So I think probably season 2 is where it really finds its groove anyway.
Okay.
But I do see what you're saying, that they could mesh it a little bit better.
Well, and also maybe you could tell me if you picked up on this too, but I will confess that I, as blown away as I was by the pilot, thinking it was like really great TV, none of the other episodes seemed like they were quite to the caliber of the pilot to me.
No, I would agree that we probably have not quite seen that great of an episode yet, but my guess would be they probably put more money into the pilot than
Well,
any of the other episodes. That would be my guess.
it's also, maybe you're right, because they were trying to mimic the other police procedurals. You're getting a lot of the beats, and like some of the side characters are kind of got their quips, and it feels like CSI, and there's little things that I was like, okay, like for dramatic effect, like okay, Jack Crawford calls Will Graham on the phone. Oh, he's got her. Hangs up without confirming anything. Gets to the hospital desk. What's going on? Doesn't tell the lady at the desk what's going on. Just runs to the room. And how many people that aren't related to the girl can hang out in the hospital room for hours? And I'm just
Right,
like, yeah,
right.
I'm picking apart little issues. And I'm like, yeah, this is kind of falling into some of the trappings of the, what we see with a lot of these shows. And I was like,
The unrealistic
yeah,
shows.
it's getting, and there are some things that were like a little almost comical, like when the one brother attacks the girl, he's like, in the house, and she accidentally stabs him. I was like, that kind of could have been unintentionally funny, because it was like, it was just it was oddly handled, some of it, like it was almost like a farce. So it's not all of it, not all the writing and direction seems like it's quite following the same flow every single episode. Like there's some
Okay.
moments that
Well,
just are,
yeah, I
you
mean, look,
know,
they're all directed by every one of the first 5 episodes. Well, 1 and 3 were directed by the same person, but
mhm.
every other one was directed by a
and
different
and I,
person. So
and
that's
I'm
fine.
not saying any of these episodes were horribly directed or anything. I'm just saying
Right.
there's a couple moments that come off like a little cheesy, a little like, just a here and there, like
All
which
right.
is,
Well, look,
it's fine, I guess.
look. You've seen a lot more of this kind of show than me. I know you love Without a Trace and all this stuff. I don't usually watch a lot of these, so for me,
All
I think
right.
it worked maybe a little bit better.
Well, Dan, trust me, if you saw more of, yes, if you saw Without a
But the,
Trace or
but
Cold
that's the thing.
Case, you'd
The
get the.
reason I the reason I don't watch those shows is because if you've literally seen one episode, you've seen all of them. When
Yeah.
Law and Order. So I watched SVU for the first time in about a decade the other
Mhm.
week because when they brought back Elliot Stabler for the thing, I had to review it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But it was a two-parter, so I had to watch the new SVU episode first, and I was just like, this is the same garbage that I watched 15 years ago, like when
Well,
it was on,
look, there's
So
one
I
thing
get it.
about the police procedurals is they've got their formulas down. They
Yeah.
got it down to the rhythm
Oh
perfectly.
yeah.
All the lines, all the, yep.
I think they're doing some very different things here
No,
that we
yeah,
don't necessarily see there. But
yeah. I'm not saying it's. I do think it's better than those episodes typically are. They're not as cheesy. They're
yeah,
obviously going to darker places. But okay, let me give you an example. Here's a character. What's the one lab lady, the Asian woman?
oh yeah, she loves to throw a good quip out there.
She's got the quips. I do like the quips, but let me ask you: is it just me, or does she just want to just ride Will Graham's D so bad?
Probably.
Like she's getting up there in the gun range, just like touching on. He's so oblivious that she's been wanting him. Like the whole, I'm like, it's hilarious. Like she's,
Yeah, he
it's
doesn't quite get it.
I like she. I've never seen a character so like just flirting so much with another, and the other guy just no idea what's going on. But she's got the jokes. I like her.
She's got the jokes, yes. I can't deny
But
that. But
she,
you have to always have one. You have to have your Polly
well,
Perrette.
but it's not just her. It's all the other guys in the lab making the bits.
Well, look, I brought this up last time. Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
I've never in my life seen him do a serious role.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm used to seeing him. Kids in the Hall always used to do like cross-dressing bits and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gay, so like I've always seen him doing like really over the top sort of characters, and so it's definitely new to me to see him be like the semi-serious fingerprint guy here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's actually being a little restrained just because I'm so used to seeing him be really outrageous.
He is doing bits though.
I guess his small bits here sort of are, to me, reined in, I guess, because I know the actor.
Well, look, I guess you got to have some levity in the show, but I think we talked about it maybe in the first one, man. But this show has really got like the true detective, but elements to it. But I would say this is like David Fincher 7 to the max with this level of the gore, but the atmosphere. It's I feel like that maybe just a lot of the films and shows based on serial killers after I guess Silence of the Lambs, but really Seven, I think had a huge influence on all that stuff. Like this is a lot of that Fincher-esque.
Yeah, I kind of think Silence of the Lambs was a fluke in that regard. And then once Seven was such a hit years
Yeah,
later, they were like, oh, okay, like we
people do like this
can,
stuff.
yeah, people are into it. And probably some of the Grisham stuff, might
Yeah,
be a little more gruesome too. I don't know, but
a little bit. That's more like
uh,
legal stuff, but sometimes.
I guess, yeah, I guess so. He's more of the lawyer stuff, but um, all right. Well, look, we're gonna have many more of these, discuss all of these
Well,
things
well,
and
well,
more. Was there
well.
anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, before we stop, I think we should talk about maybe the biggest thing Hannibal related in the show, which was his relationship with the daughter.
With Will? Oh, with the daughter. Yes,
He's kind of grooming her
that's.
to like because she when he kind of sets it up that he wants to cover up the fact that I guess the brother might be connected to him somehow in his dealings. So he kind of manages to get the guy to sort of go after her because
Mhm.
she kind of blames her for possibly killing people. But then he actually says, okay, well, you can confess it and people will just think you killed them maliciously, or I'll help you hide the body. So now she suspects that he is the serial killer that called her dad. So they've kind of got this
Yeah,
interesting
at
relationship
the end
going.
of that third episode, they basically agree to keep each other's secrets.
That's interesting. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I listen. I like the dynamic between her and him. I still am not positive what all this girl has done and what they're just leading us to believe. So I
yeah.
think we'll get more of that as we go on.
And I also
Um,
like his relationship with Will. I think is good whenever he does the sessions and is trying to kind of have some of their discussions about what he's feeling and his feelings of guilt, or does he like the idea of killing these people so much that he's afraid he's becoming like them? And
yeah,
Hannibal's kind of like questioning his like what what's the line of feeling bad or good about killing somebody? And I think that's kind of one of the main themes of the show is really discussing violence and what drives people to do it and the motivations and kind of those lines we walk. I think that's so far one of the big overarching themes of the whole show, probably.
yeah, and it's certainly something that does set it apart from other shows, and because we sort of go into it with the assumption that the viewer knows who Hannibal is already, they
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do a lot of explaining. Um, and even if you didn't know who Hannibal is,
You can still
uh,
watch it, I think.
well, yeah, oh, you could definitely still watch it. I wonder what your interpretation might be if you didn't know who Hannibal was at all.
Well, I was thinking about that
But
too. And I could see, like we talked about in the first one, maybe not everybody would know Silence of the Lambs, like younger people that could discover
yeah,
this first. And if they did, they wouldn't be sure exactly what to think of Hannibal. And I was thinking, besides the little winks here or there is no clear statement that he's a bad guy so far.
no, none at all.
He just seems like a reserved, kind of person, and he gives interesting advice. And I think he's somebody who maybe has a dark side, but like it's not something that's blatantly clear. Like if
Right.
I knew nothing, I would be like, it's an interesting guy, but I wouldn't think he was bad
Yeah,
necessarily.
and I think that's definitely the way they're playing it. So that way, anybody that watches this 20, 30 years down the line, like we talked about last time, I think could watch this with a fresh set of eyes. And maybe, you and I pick up on certain things like his little bits about what he for
And the
dinner,
cuts to the meat and stuff. Like, okay,
cuts to
what
the
is
meat.
that a person? Yeah,
But they may just think, well, he's a little bit of an oddball and he loves to host a party and whatever.
and he's
But yeah,
got like, yeah.
they're just sort of peppering in little things. It's not, um, they're not making it super obvious, which I really
Yeah,
respect.
they don't cut to him like doing it anything. Like even
Right,
even
right,
the girl like says she thinks he's a serial killer, and he just kind of is like, well, don't say anything. Like he doesn't say that. He just says like, maybe I was just a concerned witness. Like
right.
so she's kind of assuming it, but we still don't know. We still wouldn't know 100% for sure. Uh,
Do you love that he's gonna help Abigail cover up the murder?
the interesting thing about it is that I really I really liked it actually because you could think, okay, if he was a one-dimensional bad guy, he could just kill her or he could like frame her, but he actually like understands that she's an innocent and kind of wants to help her. And you know he's a psychiatrist, the therapist, so he's like, no, I want to. He says he feels like a mentor, father figure, like Will does feel
Yeah.
responsible. So he does have a code, and he still does like people and want to help people that I guess don't irritate him. So I mean, yeah, I like that he has some kinship for her, and it's sweet, and it's slightly creepy way.
I don't think it's creepy in a sexual way.
No, not like that. Just in his Hannibal Lecter, Michael Mads, like the
Yeah, I mean,
Mads
Mads Mikkelsen.
Mikkelsen's.
Yeah, he might eat her, I guess.
No, he's not. I don't think he's. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna eat her. He's not gonna eat her. I'm just. I don't hope he doesn't eat her. I'm just saying. It seems like he. It's creepy in the sense that we know he's Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
But otherwise, no. I think it's a cool thing. Actually, I like that.
Okay.
It's a positive trait for his character.
Yeah.
I have two other things for you I did want to talk about very briefly.
Okay.
Jack Crawford, Larry Fishburne.
Yep.
I like him. I do love him. But I kind of, like I said, that Will Graham wants to quit. And literally, Jack's like, oh,
Won't let him.
Man, oh, you got to keep doing this. You got to keep doing this. What do you mean doing this is giving you problems? I don't want to hear, like, get the psyche about, like, it's just, I'm a little conflicted about how I feel about him sometimes because he literally doesn't care that it's torturing this guy.
Well, look, from I think you and I both have worked enough jobs
that boss
to know that this is how it works. We are all completely disposable, and if we have a certain quality that they need, such as his forensic and whatever his investigative profiling skills.
His profiler,
yeah.
Do it. Well, remember that scene?
He cares.
Remember that scene where he was like, literally, you're the head of behavioral whatever. You'd figure out the answer, and everybody walks away. You didn't just say that. I'm like, it's got a point. Aren't you an expert too? Get at us.
Right.
So some of that was it.
Look, you could maybe dislike that management style, let's say, but I think it's pretty realistic, especially in this type of industry where if they find somebody that is an expert at something, they're going to hold on to him. Doesn't matter to them if he goes crazy or kills himself or whatever.
I know I guess he eventually quits and does the boat thing. They keep hammering the boat repair thing.
Yeah, that's where the one movie begins, right?
Yeah, they're like, I guess I could just go repair boats. I'm like, haha, because he's gonna end up doing that eventually.
Right.
But his wife is Gina Torres. I remember I saw Gina Torres
guest star. Love her.
And I was very mad the first episode because she literally had one line. And I was like, you're not going to fucking bring Gina Torres in here and have her be guest starring one fucking line where it's like, it's too late for me now. And I'm like, oh, that's bullshit. But then the next episode's all about her. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fine. Look, we are fans of hers.
Yes.
For different things. I mean, you obviously love her, I'm sure, from Firefly.
And Suits.
Oh, that's right. You do love a good Suits.
The boss in Suits.
Yes. And I like her from, Pushing Daisies, another Brian Fuller show. Mm-hmm. And she's done some other things that I've seen. But yeah, I enjoy that we're getting to know her a bit.
She's good.
But I sense she'll be in it a lot more as we're getting to know, Crawford and stuff. As we go through. But yes, she's pretty minor so far.
Pretty minor, but I do think they introduced the whole cancer plot with which I guess she was hiding, and that's going to be an interesting thing for some drama, which I think definitely will add more for Crawford's character. One minor thing though, we almost ended it without talking about it. And this might speak volumes, but how do you feel about like the other professor or whatever, his potential love interest that pops in and out? Because you see,
I don't care. That's the least interesting part of the
whole show. Because at least the tabloid lady, like she's horrible, she's evil, but yeah, his like the woman that likes him, like
Lana Bloom,
snooze fest.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, she's maybe I'll feel differently if they end up getting together or whatever, but I certainly don't come to Hannibal to see the love story. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't care about her at all at this point
So
in time.
so right now she's the one you could lift from Hannibal.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, at least the true crime podcast lady, Freddie, at least she gives us someone to hate. She makes us feel something. Um, I don't think Alana even registers, honestly, for me at this point in time.
Yeah. She's so far seems a little bland to me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, when you're next to rotting corpses from deer antlers, and then she's doing her doe eyes at who cares?
Yeah,
So we'll see
man.
if that changes at all. I believe she's in all 3 seasons. So
also a minor thing that's inconsistent. I don't know if it's a writing or direction thing, but like, and I'm not an expert on dead bodies, but remember in Silence of the Lambs where they found the girl and they put like the cream under their noses, like baby stuff, to just prevent the smell from getting to you. Well, they found all these bodies. They're right up in there without face coverings or anything. I'm like, how do you? I don't care. Maybe you adapt, but
hey, when they found the girl in the trunk, though. Whoa. Their faces said it all. I mean, they were about to all puke.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't think they faked me up, by the way. I thought the girl was the serial killer, but no, it was the pharmacist. They got me.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was a guy, like, because he kept looking around like he was weirded out, and I thought it was the girl, like she was tracking down. No, she was the new victim.
That was him.
I was like blown. Yeah, so they got me there. Yeah.
All right. Well, look, we're gonna have 2 more episodes just dealing with season 1. We'll have we'll talk about episodes 6 through 10, then 11, 12, and 13, and then sort of a season 1 recap. I'm interested in this show. I'm glad we picked it.
Yeah, it was a good choice. Hannibal is good. Hannibal, love that Lecter.
Hannibal, love that Lecter. Something different for me, certainly.
Yeah. This is one of the big surprises, Dan. This is definitely not a Dan first choice, I would think.
Well, what's funny is, so, yesterday, like I said, I watched all 4 of these episodes in a row, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, went to work, came home, and I needed a little palate cleanser.
Sure.
So I watched the Brady Bunch movie last night.
Oh, nice.
I said I need a laugh after this.
No, that's actually the one thing
this hardcore mess here of a show.
I don't mind darker stuff typically, but I'll be honest, I was a little like trepidatious about the idea of undertaking the show because I'm like, this is a dark, disturbing show. So I was like, I don't know if I can marathon this shite.
I like to mix it up, like these people that are obsessed with like, true crime documentaries and watch the forensic files before bed. It's like
before bed.
I can't. I really can't do it.
As you know, my fiance, she likes all the true crime docs and stuff. That's like one of her favorite things on Netflix to watch. And she'll watch all those. And there was one she watched that was just, these are true stories about like people that just disappear. And she fell asleep and I actually decided to watch one because I was intrigued by it. Right.
Yeah.
And some like woman in Norway disappeared in the mid-90s or whatever. They couldn't find her. Episode ends with like, yep, this is all we ever found. Nobody found her. And I'm like, that's how it ends. and I was like, that's how I got so mad. Where's the second part? So, man, F that. I couldn't deal with that.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. So yeah, I don't know how. Maybe I'll put this on my 1 a day list so I don't have to marathon them, because 4 episodes in one day of Hannibal is tough.
I could maybe do it one day, but I couldn't do them in a row. Like I'd have to.
Yeah, I watched them all in a block yesterday. So, all right. Well, Joe, thank you for joining for Love That Lecter. We do love him.
Hey, love that Lecter. That's what I say.
I sure do. Yes, indeed. And we'll be back next time with more Hannibal episodes. We'll see everybody next time. Bye.